So starting today, December 9th through 13th, the current world theme is the 26th gene key. There's 64 total. And I'm going to do the reading. So with each gene key, there's 3 states of the gene key that you can be in. And the shadow state is really the lowest frequency state that most of humanity is living in, unfortunately. It's rooted in fear, and so it's a very low frequency. And the idea and the goal and in all of this is to really bring awareness to that and begin to elevate the frequency and move into the gift. The gift is the second stage. And the gift is really when we start to experience heart opening, right? And we're not living so much from a state of fear as we are from a state of love and possibility and gratitude. And then the highest state is what's called the siddhi, and that's S-I-D-D-H-I. The siddhi state is really one of enlightenment and true awakening. And that is like the highest level. That's the highest state of frequency. That's the highest vibration. That is the ultimate aim. Very few get there. We may have glimpses and moments when we're in that state, but really most of us just need to move from the shadow into the gift, okay? And so reading through these, some of us will identify with different ones. Most of us all have elements. We all have elements of all of them. But when you get your own personal profile, you'll see which ones are really specific to you. But there's even others that you may deeply identify with, depending on your current life situation, the current things that you're going through. So I think most of us are going to identify with the one that I read today. And it's something that we see everywhere, really, as a collective. And this will all make sense to you once I start reading it. So again, the 26th gene key, its subtitle, if you will, is Sacred Tricksters. And the shadow state of the 26th gene key is pride. Okay, so we see that rampant in our society, right? And as I start to read it and explain what that means, you'll start to understand and begin to see kind of in your environment where this exists. The gift of the 26th gene key is artfulness, and the siddhi is invisibility. Okay? So when we look at the shadow and speak specifically to pride, I'm going to read the section on the shadow and I'm going to read the section on the gift, and then I'll just do a high-level overview of the siddhi. So the shadow is pride. Deep within the substructure of your physical body lies a set of 4 chemical codes whose ultimate role is to determine how your body captures, stores, and transmutes light waves, and how it transmutes those light waves into energy. This chemical family, which includes the 5th, 9th, 11th, and 26th gene keys, is collectively known as the Ring of Light. And in genetics, it codes for the amino acid threonine. Depending on the frequency of light that you allow to enter your DNA, different biochemical processes are initiated, affected, and or prevented inside your body by means of these codes. And it's already well known scientifically how the ultraviolet frequencies within sunlight catalyze your body to produce vitamin D, which is a vital component of your physical health. Light contains many such catalytic codes within its spectrum that determine not just physical health, but also your emotional health, your mental health, and ultimately your spiritual well-being. So the central message of the Gene Keys revelation concerns the power that you as a human being wield to consciously and unconsciously raise or lower the frequency of light entering your body, thereby altering your reality through the medium of your DNA. So at the lower frequencies, which are the frequencies that are governed by fear, Your DNA relays instructions throughout your body that are based upon individual survival. And this is what we often see when we're living in chronic stress. We're living in survival mode, right? We're living from fear. This very, very narrow set of parameters is the primary paradigm ruling our planet today. The 26 gene key is unique within this threonine group because it has to do with utilizing light waves via the medium of the individual will. In other words, through your willpower, you can bend light and turn it to your advantage. This gene key, therefore, has a great deal to do with the correct and harmonious use of will. There's a huge conditioning field on this planet telling you that nothing will ever come to you in your life unless you reach out and grab it. At the shadow frequency, you allow your unconscious fear to make you distrust the natural and easy flow of life. Out of this fear, you try to control life by pitting your individual will against the whole. And so the 26th shadow of pride begins to rule your life. How many can relate to this so far, right? The power of will is actually a magical power. It is quite literally your ability to harness the power of light and project it through your body as action, thought, and words. It is the key to manifesting dreams on the material plane. If you have enough willpower, you can achieve almost anything. This is the language of the 26th shadow, and it is important to remember that there is nothing wrong with this belief. It is a vital stepping stone to a far higher frequency. However, there are two types of will. There is your will, which we shall see is actually an illusion, and then there is thy will, which we'll look at when we examine the higher frequencies of the 26 gene key. Your will is the foundation of human pride. It is the belief that you as an individual can control the forces of nature and come out on top. Nowhere in our society is the shadow of willful pride more dominant than in the sphere of business. All modern business is built on this rationale of individual willpower. If you're driven by the 26th shadow, then you, like many others, use your willpower for the sake of personal gain and recognition. In business, this means that to climb to the top, you must consciously or unconsciously push others down. The word most commonly used to describe the energy and effect of the 26th shadow is the word ego. In spiritual circles, the ego is widely regarded as the arch enemy of the higher self. But when we come to explore the ego through the 26th gift, we learn that it actually has a higher purpose. When you allow yourself to be governed by fear, you're giving instructions to your DNA to try to establish and maintain control over others or your environment by means of the ego. In doing so, you effectively cut yourself off from those others as well as from your environment. At the shadow frequency, this is the only way you can see to create success and security for yourself in life. So the 26 gene key tells you to get on the ladder of competitiveness just like everyone else around you. In the modern world, hierarchy, competitiveness, and ego are considered normal and even healthy. Unfortunately, the current definition of health on this planet is based on a very narrow set of criteria. Real health is only found when your inner being is completely at ease with life's inherent uncertainty. The 26 gene key has a strong link to the function of the thymus gland, which is vital to your immune system. Societal conditioning tells you that if you really want something badly enough, you make it happen. If you base your life on this premise, the lower frequencies of the 26 shadow will gradually grind down your immune response, leading to increased stress, and premature aging, not to mention a host of potential problems or diseases associated with the weakening of your immune system. This is so important, especially right now in this time that we're in, because this uncertainty that we're all experiencing is definitely increasing stress. And I think we're seeing so much of the ego raise its head and pride raise its head to try to control our situation, right? But ultimately, this ends up weakening the immune system because it perpetuates stress. If you try to force life to follow your will, you may well succeed in achieving your goals, but at what cost? By moving against nature, you deny yourself true happiness and replace it with an addiction to stress. You can identify the 26 shadow in a person because they simply cannot relax, even for a single moment. And maybe you know some people like that around you that just are constantly tense, constantly stressed out, constantly on edge. They just can't relax. If, however, you look deeply enough into the possibilities lying dormant within your DNA, you will find that other models for success and security exist. Models that most people on this planet can scarcely entertain as realistic. They're so distant, they seem from our modern reality. These higher models are waiting to be activated inside your DNA by the higher frequencies within the light spectrum. As we shall see at these higher frequencies, the 26 gene key reveals many hidden pathways within the quantum web that connects all beings through time and space. Within the ring of light, the 5th gene key allows you to synchronize your individual biorhythm to the wider cosmic pattern or grid. But it is the 26th gene key that finds all the shortcuts through the matrix. Such shortcuts or wormholes allow human beings operating at higher frequencies to break the normal laws of the material plane. However, at the shadow frequency, none of these shortcuts are available to you, and your only resource is to use brute force of will to get what you want. The philosophy of the 26 shadow is based on every man for himself, and in such a system, someone always loses. We can also see this reflected in the 45th gene key of dominance, which is the programming partner of the 26 gene key. As we have seen, the 26 shadow is about ego and pride. One of the underlying fears of this shadow is being perceived as powerless. It has much to do with projecting an image of success and confidence. The activation of this gene key at its lower frequencies leaves you craving security in your identity, and your natural reaction to this discomfort will be to seek that security by setting yourself above others through an act of will. Even deeper lies the core human fear of non-existence. In a great cosmic irony, the more solidly you become attached to a powerful sense of ego and identity in the world, the more profoundly this fear affects and undermines you. You look back on your life and consider how many people you must have subdued to get to where you are now. The deepest sadness of all is that this 26 gene key contains such effortless magic, but it is effectively negated by the deep-seated and false belief that you cannot get anywhere in life except by sheer force of will. And then there's two aspects of this shadow frequency. We see this as, in some people, as a repressive nature, which manifests as manipulation. And manipulation is one of those terms as well that can be good or bad, if you will, depending on the motive and the intention behind it. We also see it as a reactive nature, as you know, and that is displayed as people who are overly boastful. Okay, so then as we move into the gift, this is where we start to see the higher frequencies of this gene key displayed and the magic within this gene key as well. So this is the gift of artfulness. And so we start to transmute the shadow, which is rooted in fear, into the gift of artfulness, which is rooted in love. And so I'm going to read a little bit about that as well. So So it's also subtitled as Heart Marketing. So when you get to the gift level of the 26 gene key, you learn a very great secret in life. You learn the difference between will and intention. At the lower frequency, the 26 shadow leads you to believe that you must exert huge willpower to attain your dreams in life. The problem here is that the shadow frequency, you cannot possibly know what your dreams really are, right? Some of us think we know what our dreams are, but we have such a limited point of view that we can't possibly know what our dreams really are in life. Inside the coils of your DNA, your higher purpose lies concealed. You cannot force that purpose out into the world by sheer force of will. Your higher purpose can only manifest when you surrender your individual will to nature as a whole. This process of surrender begins with the understanding that your higher purpose is something you must tune into rather than impose upon the world. When you first come into contact with your higher purpose in life, you'll most likely experience it inside as a subtle intention. The more you listen inwardly, the more deeply you will realize that this intention lies behind everything you do and say in life. Your attitude about this intention determines the success of its manifestation in the world. At the shadow frequency, you respond to this intention through your pride and thus distort its manifestation by trying to preempt and force it. At the gift frequency, your attitude invites a higher wave band of light into your DNA. This more refined frequency catalyzes new microprocesses inside your body. For one thing, your immune system becomes stronger and your general level of health improves considerably. When the 26th gift is activated, your thymus gland engages at a higher level and some curious things occur throughout your being. The first thing you may notice is that you begin to feel physically and emotionally warmer on the inside. The higher functioning of the thymus gland releases a soft vibration throughout your chest area that brings with it a wonderful feeling of open-heartedness and warmth. You may wonder what it is that you're doing to activate these higher frequencies inside your body. And the answer is simple. You're listening to your intention. You're listening to the higher purpose inside you. Simply by listening in this way, without needing to do anything, you begin to absorb a higher frequency of light. And over time, prolonged attunement to these frequencies results in a frame shift mutation within your DNA. This spontaneous change completely reorganizes the way in which your genetic code is translated, and another hidden code reveals itself for the first time in your life. It is this hidden code that corresponds to your higher purpose. Once it has been unlocked, your life will change irreversibly. The 26th gift celebrates your ego without self-judgment and in full awareness. When this gift awakens, you realize that there is absolutely nothing wrong with pride. Pride is simply a low-frequency word for the same energy that can be called artfulness. When you learn how to use pride creatively, it becomes something powerful and even beautiful. The 26th gift loves attention. It's designed to draw attention. This gift is about the love of selling something to someone, whether it's a product or yourself or a truth. The 26th gift represents the love of marketing, of dressing up something so that others will buy into it. In order to sell a product or a truth, you have to put yourself in the limelight. You have to embrace the energy of pride and ego that lies within all humans and use it in the service of your higher purpose. The 26th gift includes natural-born shrewdness. Through this gift, you can use the power of your ego to deliver your message, and to do so, you must fully embrace it. We've seen that ego has a negative connotation in many spiritual circles where it is often seen as something to be conquered or transcended. And actually, nothing can be transcended through conquest. Only through absorption, acceptance, and even enjoyment. can the ego be transcended. This is the gift of enjoying your ego. Through the gift of artfulness, your ego actually becomes an art form. And out of this gift emerges the ability to manipulate racial memory. In other words, you instinctively know how to speak the exact language of the person before you. This ability to manipulate your audience can be devastating at the lower frequencies, since it's rooted in fear and it sells itself through fear. But at a higher frequency that's freed from fear, the 26th gift sells itself through love. This is heart marketing. The word manipulation is another negative connotation in the spiritual domain. However, as long as manipulation is open and honest, it can be a beautiful thing. Art is a subtle form of manipulation, as is music. Human beings can be moved from lower frequencies to higher frequencies through manipulation, and this is where the 26th gift excels. It lets you know you're being manipulated so that you can give in and allow yourself to be swept away or reject what's being offered. It is a game for the 26th gift, and through this gift you manipulate your own ego in order to manipulate someone else's ego. The difference between the frequency of the shadow and the gift is that when you are operating from the shadow, you are effectively consumed by your own ego and its voracious need to feed off success, recognition, and dominance. When you are manifesting the 26th gift, you are not identified with your own ego. It is simply something you use, like a costume you put on before a show. I love that so much because it gives a nicer meaning to ego and manipulation when we're using it in the gift frequency. But then when we move into the siddhi, which is the highest state, I'm not going to read that entire thing, but it really is more about transcending the ego. And it's about having fun, and it's about playfulness. So one thing it does mention and kind of highlights at the siddhi level is those who manifest this siddhi level teach humanity to take life less seriously. They trick us into great truths. So again, this level, this enlightened state, this highest state is really about transcending the ego, being playful, having fun with life, not taking life so seriously, going with the flow, and living in truth and love. And so I love this so much because we can see this playing out so much in our world right now, where the majority of humanity really is living in that shadow frequency of pride and ego. And then as we start to bring awareness to that, we can really start to elevate the frequency and move into the gift state, right? And live in that state of artfulness and heart marketing, if you will, and living in intention rather than forcing stuff upon us in our life and forcing things upon others, but living out our intention and allowing it to happen, right? So I hope this gives you some insight. I would love to hear your comments. If any of it resonates with you, please share in the comments below. And if you have any questions, please share those in the comments as well. So look forward to talking to you again soon. Bye.